been talking about this drug crisis and reaching out to faith leaders. Why faith leaders?
Well, because their number one job is to love people. I mean, they're not in it to make money, to have profit or anything else. They're in this thing because they have to love the people that are in their various congregations. And I think they can be a pivot point. I think they can be something we can rely on. You know, we try to rely on the schools. We try to rely on families, unfortunately, who have lost people. They play a big role in all this. But I think if the churches can help organize at the very basic block level, then I think it'll be a partnership that will pay dividends. But their job is to love people, and I think we had a good meeting today. I'm not surprised. I knew we would have a good meeting. We just need to get it organized, and a large part of this challenge locally is how do you organize? How do you get people committed to a certain thing, whether it's feeding people who are hungry or helping our seniors who are lonely or fighting opiates. I mean, we have to figure out a new way to have a mechanism so that people can look at their next door neighbor and say, hey, I can work with you and we can fix things.
Governor, after yesterday's news, I heard from many people, pain patients especially, who are concerned that the
chronic pain, yeah.
Chronic pain, and they're just concerned in general that these regulations in the past couple of years and the ones announced yesterday will trickle down and reduce access for people with legitimately need them. And they personally told me they fear that they might have to go to the streets and get it. So what, I guess, they want to see more attention paid to the other side of the issue, then, of focusing on the people who are actually addicted. So could you talk a little bit more about what, the efforts that you plan to put in place or to address that issue instead of just looking at the supply issue? And do you think that's a fear that is a founded fear that people are, that people are afraid they're not going to be able to get medicine?
Look, it would be normal if you live in chronic pain, which we can't even relate to be concerned that they will not get what they need in order to help them through their problem. There's a difference between acute and chronic, and they're separated. So if you have a chronic problem, it's a different way in which you're going to be treated as opposed to acute. Because what we know about acute or a chronic is when somebody has a chronic problem, they're more carefully watched over by their physician. And so it would be great if we could figure out a non-opioid way to treat their pain. But in the meantime, we're not going to take that away from them. If they live in chronic pain, they've got to have the relief.
They've told me that's already happened because doctors are feeling the pressure to not prescribe as much, or they feel that the regulations and you want to deal with it.
Yeah, first of all, I think it's all good for doctors to be more careful about the way they dispense these drugs. But I don't have any examples myself, any examples personally where somebody who has chronic pain has been impacted. If we begin to see that, we'll deal with it. But we can't say because of the chronic pain side of this thing that we can't deal with the acute side when it comes to people getting, how many pills because they had a wisdom teeth out or because they sprained their wrist or sprained their knee. We need to be in a position of where this is sort of a last resort, not a first resort. But to those people who are chronically ill, when they have problems, I want to know about it. And I don't think doctors will back away because the medical association, all these dispensers, they support what we're doing because we've done it carefully, we've done it over time, and we've brought them in. So my message to those who have this chronic pain, we'll be fine. And I don't want you to panic about it. And there's different ways in which the medical board and everybody else looks at this. So part of the reason why we've taken these steps, voluntary guidelines and now the demands that were in place, is because we didn't want to create the problem of access. But I think we'll be okay. But it's a good point for people to bring out.
Thanks, Governor. Thanks, everybody.
Governor,
okay?
Good point. I just wanted to ask about. I mean, your party doesn't seem to be taking your advice.